How's it going, everybody? So today's video is going to be on the reason why Hollywood is trash and the fact that reboots don't work. Because the main problem that you probably have noticed with Hollywood is they are depending mostly on either superhero movies or reboots because they have no originality left. They're pretty much bankrupt of any creativity to make anything new and original happen. And the easiest route to go is reboot a series or a movie that was already done, because then you already have source material to go off of, and then you can showcase to the general public your new ideas, your new agendas within that movie. And that's what's been happening as of lately. So I've compiled some prime examples of that. And the main thing that kind of sparked this off is Charlie's Angels reboot, how it was done and how trash it was, and how Elizabeth Banks is now blaming men for the idea that her movie flopped when she wasn't even gearing towards men at all. And I actually did a whole video on that. It'll be linked up here for you in case you care to watch it. And I compiled from boxofficemojo.com the box office numbers. Some of them have budgets to them, some of them don't. And then also I've added in the Rotten Tomato scores. In case any of you guys care, I will reference them a little bit here and there. I did a whole Rotten Tomatoes video on why I actually hate Rotten Tomatoes and how they're very allegedly agenda-based from certain studios, and how they are shady when it comes to business for critiquing, and that video again is up here. But a lot of videos are being SJW'd from how they originally were. And another video to plug is I did that where I talked about in two sets. First one was just in movies, TV, and the second one gears more towards daily lives, news, and things of that nature. So in case you want to watch those, they'll be linked up above as well. So let's get into the very first one. So again, the main drive for this one is Charlie's Angels. And so 2000 release, a budget of $93 million to a worldwide bring-in of 264 and change, to the newly brought in Charlie's Angels from Elizabeth Banks just not that long ago, and a budget of $48 million, bringing in only $55.9 million because of how agenda-based it was, despite that she said it was not supposed to be, and tomato scores kind of reflecting that. So a huge box office bomb. This is one of those movies that it should not have been remade. Nobody's asking for this.
Don't remake that with a bunch of 21-year-old girls. They can't do that. You know, they don't have the experience. Those are women.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And my personal opinion when it comes to movies is, if it's a timeless classic that you can watch right when it was, premiered and it first was put into theaters, to any time after that. That could be a year, 10 years, 100 years, whatever the case is. If it's timeless, don't remake it. It doesn't need to be remade. If you want to watch the original, go watch it.
I'm attempting to replicate the dark matter signal found in sodium iodide crystals by the Italians.
So no original research?
No.
Well, what's the point of my seeing it? I could just read the paper the Italians wrote.
Same thing. It's why watch something new? I mean, other than the fact that it's HD and CGI is better, and most of the movies now, how they remake it is because they now have social media and they put iPhones in it. So, but again, just me, I guess, right? What do I know? Child's Play, 1988. So, no budget displayed here. Worldwide, bringing in $44 million. And again, this is also 1988 money. So take into consideration what you will for that. Obviously could have brought in a lot more had it been in the social media era. Then you have Child's Play 2, 1990, bringing in $35 million, so less than the prior ones, with tomato meters and audience score relatively the same, 44, 47. Child's Play 3 in 1991, bringing in $20 million, so even lower scores for the movie ratings from the critics and the audience, to Child's Play in 2019, which brought in $44.9 million to a budget of $10 million. Better scores overall, but comparatively speaking, it is 2019. This was a remake that was not necessary. And the worldwide box office numbers don't lie. So looking at the next one, which is Ghostbusters, this is 1984, a budget of 30 million to worldwide take of 295 million, so almost 10 times the original. And for any of you guys that are not really aware, when it comes to a budget, when you start profiting is when you've brought in about 1.5 to 2 times the amount that the budget is, because you have to also consider that the second half that is not usually labeled on here for budget is marketing. So you have your TV spots, your ads, your actors and actresses going around and doing their rounds to all the different networks, TV shows, radio, talking about the movie as a whole. So with this one, the original, 97% and 88% respectively for the ratings on the movie. To Ghostbusters 2, 1989, 29 million domestic opening, worldwide 215, so not hugely greater after that. And then tomato meter showing how the audience truly felt about it, so 61%, so obviously bringing in less than the first one. Then you have the remake of Ghostbusters in 2016, so this was all SJW, all female cast. It didn't fail because it was a female cast, it failed because of the agenda that they pushed within this movie, and how all they would try to do is slander and talk down on men in the movie. Even one of the ghosts, I think he was kicked in the balls or something like that, and it's one of those where, yeah, it's funny, but like when your whole agenda is just trying to belittle and to talk down on men, the main thing is guys aren't going to watch it. You've lost half your audience right there. And I'm not certain that a lot of women went to go see this. Obviously, from the box office numbers, budget of 144 million to a worldwide of 229 million, it didn't bring in the numbers. It flopped. And the audience score doesn't lie, 50%. Despite that, the tomato meter is 74. Hellboy 2004, budget 66 million, worldwide 99 million. So this one, you could arguably say it profited if it was only 1.5 times the amount, depending on how much marketing it did. Audience score 66%, tomato meter at certified fresh 81. Then you have Hellboy 2, which is 2008, budget of 85 million to worldwide of 160 million. So again, depending on how you see the marketing, it could be 1.5 to 2 times. Let's play, for the sake of argument, it was 1.5 times. This profited. So not greatly, but it profited none the least. So audience score 71%, so better than the first one. And then they decide to come in and make a new one in 2019. No idea why. Budget of 50 million, couldn't even meet that. 44 million. Tomato meter at 17, audience score 51. So it seemed like, from what people were saying, is a fun movie, just because if you like random, silly type of action, no real plot, no real storyline or anything, turn your brain off to any kind of critical thinking, fun movie. Other than that, box office doesn't lie. It flopped. So another example of why reboots don't work. Goldeneye, one of my favorite James Bond movies, and arguably Pierce Brosnan's one of his best, if not the best, performances as James Bond. Bringing in 352 million worldwide, audience score of 83%, 78% critics from 1995. Casino Royale, which is Daniel Craig's start on his take for James Bond. This was a budget of 150 million, bringing in 609 million. So obviously, even if you double that, 300 million profit. Great movie. 95% certified fresh, audience score of 89%. Then you have the next installment, which is Skyfall. A little bit more of a budget, so 50 million more, budget of 200 million, bringing in over $1 billion. So great movie. As far as box office numbers, tomato meter at 92%, certified fresh, audience score is 86%. Then you have the next installment, which is Spectre of 245 million, bringing in only 880 million, audience score 81%, and tomato meter closely next to it at 63. So the reason I'm bringing this one up, because despite that this still was a profitable movie, we now have No Time to Die. coming out, which is the next installment James Bond, which is all woke. It is definitely SJW'd. If you have not seen the trailer, I definitely suggest you go see it because it is crap. I mean, the movie cinematically looks great, but the overall message in the movie is definitely trash. Lashana Lynch, who is now the female 007 supposed to take over the role, is pretty much just talking down on Daniel Craig the entire movie. He actually wants out. He's wanted out of the series for a while, and this is his final goodbye. And bless his heart for wanting to get out because it is now trash. Go see it. Go see the trailer if you've not seen it. It's on YouTube. Men in Black, 1997. So enjoyed this as a kid. Budget of 90 million worldwide. 589 million, tomato rating 92, audience score 79. Good movie. Then you have Men in Black 2, which unfortunately did not bring in the numbers that it was expected of compared to the first one. This is one of those where they should have stopped there. But you have budget of 140 million, worldwide 445 million. The critic and audience score lower than expected. Then you have Men in Black 3, which has a higher budget and 225 million to a worldwide of 624 million. The tomato meter and audience score 68 and 70 to Men in Black's International 2019. Which again, it's just, this is one of those where, I mean, it still profited, but they should have stopped. It wasn't necessary. Budget of 110 million to a worldwide of 253 million. Tomato meter 23, audience score of 66%. So not a good movie. Star Wars, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because of Rise of Skywalker that's coming out. So I will just glide through this real quick. Budget of 11 million to 775 million. Great critic scores. Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Budget of 18 million, so a little bit more, bringing in 547 million. Still great scores of 95 and 97 respectively. And then you have Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, budget of 32.5 million, so greatly increased compared to the last one to 475 million. So still, no matter what, great movies. These are the originals under Lucasfilm before he sold it to Disney. And speaking of Disney, let's talk about Disney's takeover. So Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens. So because of the long time between, we're not including the prequels, just from 4, 5, and 6 to now Force Awakens, which is obviously because Disney has the money to make amazing CGI and visual effects and just be a great looking movie. A lot of people were anticipating how Disney was going to have the take on the series and bringing in new characters, mentioning old ones, and obviously trying to kill off the old ones so they don't have to pay Lucas his share of what's going on. Budget of 245 million, worldwide over 2 billion, and obviously the tomato meter is up there in numbers. The Last Jedi, this is where you start to see the drastic change, half of the amount of The Force Awakens as far as the worldwide take of 1.3 billion to a budget of 317 million. So again, still greatly more than the previous movie, only bringing in half the amount. So kind of a hint as far as the idea of where they're going in the series as far as the movie plot and the canon for Star Wars and just how they are ruining it. Don't argue with me on that. Tomato meter at 91%, but the audience score who are paying for it is saying 43%. To looking at Solo Star Wars movie, one of the only flops that Star Wars has actually had for a movie, not talking about the series or anything like that. Budget of 275 million to a worldwide take of 392 million. Tomato meter and audience score roughly around the same at 70 and 63. And that reason I brought that up is because The Rise of Skywalker, there's been so many leaks on that movie that it looks like trash. It's very Mary Sued. There's a lot going on in that movie. And spoiler for any of you guys, click off, skip about 10 seconds. The scene where you see in the trailer where she's got the dual lightsabers like this, Palpatine shoots a lightning bolt at her. It bounces off and it hits him, evaporates him, disintegrates, and he dies. That's how he dies. No big fight or nothing. That's how he dies. It's trash. Sorry to spoil it for you. Actually, I'm not sorry because that movie is trash. So Terminator 1984, again, older movie. Bringing in worldwide of 78 million to a budget of 6.4 million. So obviously a greatly successful movie. Comparatively speaking, had it would have been made now, only imagine how much it would have brought. Tomato meter at 100%, audience score of 89%. So good response to the movie. Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 1991. Both the tomato meter and the audience score are in the 90s. Then you have budget of 102 million, obviously because of Robert Patrick's Terminator. Not just that, but there's a lot of other things. But his Terminator also needed a lot of effects. Looks a lot better than whatever that woke fart is of today. I'll go over that in a little bit though. So worldwide of 520 million. So great movie, profit no matter what. And then you have the catastrophes of Terminator 3, and then Salvation and Genesis, which is budget of 200 million, only bringing in 433 million. So obviously still bringing in $33 million in profit if you were to double it for the sake of argument, and an audience score of 46%. Then you have Salvation, which is 200 million, not being able to double that. Again, just for the sake of argument, let's say it was only 1.5 times the amount to be able to profit. It did profit a little bit. So audience score 54%, tomato meter 33%, 2009 release. Then you have 2015's release of Genesis, which is 155 million. Worldwide take of 440 million, tomato meter and audience score 33 and 54 respectively. Not a really good movie. Then you have the trash that just came out, which is Terminator Woke Fart. Or just a rehash of the first two movies. SJWing the shit out of it, and also they killed off John Connor in the first scene. If you did not know that, the movie's been out. If you haven't seen it and are mad, sucks to be you. So, I mean, you can look at the audience score and say, oh, well, it did great, but the budget is 185 million to a worldwide take of 256 million. If you were to even double that, it wouldn't be profitable. So, not a very good take on the movies. So then you have The Mummy, which is 1999 release, budget of 80 million, bringing in 415 million to an audience score of 75, critic score of 59%. Good movie. I enjoyed it when I was a kid. The Mummy Returns, which is 98 million, so greatly increased for the budget, to worldwide of 443 million, so still good, profitable movie. And responded well to by audiences, 63%, tomato meter at 47%. To the travesty, which is The Mummy of 2017, which is Tom Cruise's take on it, of budget of 125 million to a worldwide take of 409 million. So despite that it has a larger budget, hopefully, cross your fingers if you are a producer, that it would actually draw in so much more money, and it brought in less than The Mummy Returns. Another good example of why reboots don't work. Tomato meter is just trash, 16%. Audience score, 35%. And then you have the last two, which is What Women Want, 2000. Budget of 70 million to a worldwide take of 374 million. Again, this is 2000, so I can only imagine how much more it would have brought in. 54% for both tomato meter and the audience score, to a What Men Want of 2019, thinking that if you have Taraji P. Henson as the lead, it would bring in a lot of money, and also very much SJW'd as well. Budget of 20 million to a worldwide take of 72 million. So despite it still profited compared to the last one, no, it was just a travesty. So, I mean, it's for any of you guys that are Marvel fans, Anthony Mackie said it best when it comes to how Hollywood is and their take on movies and how their quality of movies, and also who they pander to.
You're now making movies for 16-year-olds and China. And that's it. You think of some of your favorite movies growing up, those movies wouldn't get made today. It's a different time now. The business, they make movies for specific audiences as opposed to just making good movies. And that's why people stop going to the movies, because most of the movies suck.
I'm not an avid moviegoer. I only go see a movie if I really like to go see it. I don't just like, hey, let's go waste $10 this weekend. Because I don't care. It's not something that interests me. And if I really want to see something, I have a Fire Stick. I'll just watch it on that. But I just hope that you guys got something from this. I'm not just trying to say that all reboots are bad. There are some that, because of the effects that are available now, you can make the movie look better. But the thing is, not all movies need to be remade, and Hollywood is only depending on it, again, because they do not want to put in any actual work to bring any kind of creative storyline, plot, or originality to it. I mean, just look at Game of Thrones. 1 through 5 was based on the novels for Game of Thrones, and then Benioff and Weiss had to actually create their own source material and original content for 6 and 7, the seasons. And after season 6, they wanted out. And because they got paid for what Star Wars was doing, or what they were going to be doing for Star Wars, they decided to botch and just ruin the last season of Game of Thrones to then eventually opt out of Star Wars. I did a whole movie on that here in case you want to watch it. Yeah, I just hope you got something from this. Why Hollywood is just trash and reboots are not the way to go. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the content, want to see more, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video goes up. And if you like this video, please give it a like and a share. It really helps the channel to grow. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the channel because of the new COPPA rules, because I know that COPPA really doesn't apply to me. I don't really have anything that would be deemed made for kids. Maybe just the skate camp videos that I've done many years ago. But other than that, I know there's going to be other little things that will piggyback off of that law that comes in that I will be researching more on to make sure that everything falls in line, because I want to keep the channel going. But again, hope you liked the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.